My name is Sophia. I'm going to tell you my story. This story is about my childhood. I did not really have a childhood. I remember being very small. I was maybe 10 years old. But I was not a child then. I was already an adult. I lived in a small apartment. It was always quiet there. Silence was the biggest rule. My parents worked very long hours. They were always tired. I had a younger brother. His name is Leo. Leo was 6 years old. He needed me every day. He really needed my help. My parents did not ask me to help, but I knew I must do it. This was my job. I woke up early every day. I made breakfast for Leo. I made sure he brushed his teeth. We walked to school together. I was always watching him. I felt heavy all the time. My backpack was heavy. My heart felt even heavier. Other children laughed a lot. They played games after school. I only saw their laughter. I never joined them. I knew I could not stop my work. I was the second mother for Leo. This responsibility was mine. I accepted this life. I thought this life was normal. My parents looked worried always. I wanted to help them feel better. I wanted to make the house easy for them. I tried to be helpful all the time. I tried to be invisible too. My daily routine was very strict. The school day ended at 3 o'clock. I rushed home quickly. Leo walked slowly behind me. I wanted him to be safe. When we arrived home, the work started. First, I cleaned the kitchen. The sink needed washing. The floor needed sweeping. Then I started the dinner. I learned to cook early. I could make simple rice and chicken. I used the stove carefully. I was always worried about burning the food. If the food was bad, my mother would worry more. I did not want my mother to worry. While the food cooked, I helped Leo. Leo struggled with his math homework. He often cried because of the numbers. I sat next to him patiently. I explained the problems simply. I remembered my teacher's words. I repeated the lessons to Leo. I felt like a teacher too. Sometimes I saw a ball outside. The children played soccer in the street. I looked out the window. I really wanted to kick the ball just once, but I stayed inside. I felt cold watching them play. I thought, I am too busy for that. I finished the chores before my parents returned. They usually came home near 8 o'clock. They ate dinner quickly. They asked me about school. They never asked about my feelings. They just assumed everything was fine. Leo always went to bed early. I stayed up later. I studied for my own tests. I was always tired in the morning. I was sleeping, but my mind was awake. I was planning the next day. I was thinking about the laundry. I was thinking about the bills. This was the life I knew. I felt very alone in my small world. I missed just being me. I missed being a small girl. One spring day, everything changed slightly. I was walking home from school. My best friend, Maria, ran up to me. She was very excited. Maria waved a bright paper in her hand. The paper had big colored letters. It was an invitation. It was an invitation to the Summer Art Club. The club met every afternoon in July. They were going to paint pictures. They were going to learn to draw faces. Maria said, "Sophia, you must come with me. You are a great artist. I really love to draw." Drawing was my secret freedom. I kept my pencil sketches hidden. This club sounded like heaven to me. It sounded like real fun. I looked at the bright paper carefully. It felt heavy in my hand. I knew the answer already, but I wanted to ask. I needed to try maybe one time. I walked home quietly with the invitation. Leo was waiting for me near the door. He was holding his stuffed bear. I put the invitation under my books. Later that night, I showed the paper to my mother. My mother was sitting at the table. She was paying the electricity bill. Her face looked tired and stressed. I asked her very carefully, "Mom, can I join this club?" "It is only for July." My mother looked at the paper briefly. She sighed a long, deep sigh. She looked at me sadly. She said, "Sophia, who is going to cook dinner? Who is going to watch Leo after school? We cannot pay for extra childcare." Her voice was soft but firm. The answer was a clear no. My heart dropped quickly. I felt the disappointment strongly. I took the paper back slowly. I did not cry in front of her. I walked into my small room. I threw the invitation into the trash bin. I thought, my childhood is gone. This feeling was very painful. I felt angry at the world. I felt angry at my big responsibilities. I was 10 years old. I wanted to be 10 years old. I wanted to forget the chores. I wanted to paint and play. But I was Sophia, the housekeeper. I was Sophia, the small adult. This feeling hurt me a lot inside. The next few weeks were very difficult. I tried to forget the summer club, but I felt very bitter inside. I started making mistakes. I was rushing too much. One evening, I was cooking the soup. I was thinking about painting pictures. I forgot the heat was too high. The soup started to burn quickly. Smoke filled the small kitchen. Leo started coughing very loudly. I panicked immediately. I tried to open the window. I forgot to turn off the stove first. The pot fell onto the floor. It made a terrible, loud noise. The soup was everywhere. It covered the tiles completely. I sat down on the clean floor. I started to cry silently. The tears came quickly and hotly. I felt like a failure completely. My parents came home soon after. They saw the burnt food and the mess. They saw me crying hard. My father looked shocked. My mother just looked defeated. She did not yell at me. She just cleaned the mess slowly. This silence was worse than yelling. I felt terrible guilt about the soup. I went to school the next morning. I could not focus on the lessons. My teacher, Mrs. Elena, noticed I was quiet. Mrs. Elena was a kind woman. She had silver hair and a soft voice. After class, she asked me to stay. She said, "Sophia, are you sleeping enough? You look very tired lately." I could not speak the truth easily. I just nodded my head slowly. I tried to hold back the tears again. Mrs. Elena sat next to me. She put her warm hand on my arm. She said, "I know things are hard at home. I see you helping Leo every day. You are a wonderful sister, Sophia. But you are also a child. Her words broke my resolve finally. I started crying very hard. I told her about the chores. I told her about the soup. I told her about the lost invitation. Mrs. Elena listened to everything carefully. She did not interrupt me once. When I finished talking, she smiled softly. She said, "I live 2 streets away from you. I am retired now. My own children are grown up. I have much free time. I could watch Leo after school. Maybe 2 hours every day, Monday to Thursday. You can use that time just for yourself. You can draw. You can read. You can just rest." This offer felt like a miracle. I looked at her face carefully. This small act of kindness felt huge. It was a bridge back to me. I told my mother about Mrs. Elena's offer. My mother was hesitant at first. She felt ashamed to accept help. I told her that Mrs. Elena wanted to help. I said, "Mrs. Elena says she misses children." My mother finally agreed cautiously. She thanked Mrs. Elena very much. The next Monday, my new life started slowly. After school, I walked Leo to Mrs. Elena's house. Her house smelled like cinnamon and old books. Leo loved going there immediately. Mrs. Elena had many colorful toys. She read him funny stories. I felt strange leaving him there. I was walking home alone for the first time. I did not know what to do with the silence. I went back to my quiet apartment. The sink was empty. The floor was clean already. I had 2 whole hours of nothingness. I felt nervous about resting. I felt guilty about not working. I went into my room. I pulled out my hidden sketch pad. I looked at the white page. I thought, I should be studying history now, but I took the colored pencils out. I started drawing a bright yellow sun. I drew big, green trees. I drew children playing soccer. I let myself feel happy for a moment. This was the first time I drew just for joy. The time went by very fast. When I returned for Leo, I felt lighter. I still cooked dinner, but it was easier now. I realized I did not have to lose all of myself. I realized I deserved a break. The responsibility was still mine. But my resilience was growing stronger. I started reading a fantasy book. I was just reading for fun. I started to remember what 10 years old felt like. It felt like sunshine and simple stories. My childhood was not perfect. It was full of early duties. I missed many chances to play, but I learned something very important. I learned that kindness exists everywhere. I learned that asking for help is strong. It is not weak. Mrs. Elena gave me time. This time gave me perspective. I started understanding my parents better. They were not ignoring me. They were just struggling very hard. They were trying to survive. I learned to forgive them slowly. I learned to forgive myself too. I was trying to be perfect. I did not have to be perfect. I just had to be Sophia. Leo grew up happily. He still remembers Mrs. Elena's stories. When I look back now, I see a strong girl. I see a girl who carried a heavy load, but she did not break completely. Resilience is not about avoiding problems. It is about bending and not snapping. It is about finding small windows of light. I learned to build those small windows myself. I learned to draw them brightly. Now I am older. I still work hard every day. But I remember the lesson well. We must take care of our inner child. We must give ourselves permission to breathe. If you are carrying too much today, look for your own Mrs. Elena. Look for the small moment to draw your son. This story helped me heal. If you liked this story and want to learn more, subscribe to the channel and see the next story.